In a village where heaven met earth and where traditions were as old as the whispering baobab trees, there lived a woman named Amina. Amina was lovely. Her eyes were dark wells of wisdom, and her laugh had the power to make the most serious old man smile. Yet despite her beauty and charm, she remained single. Tired of her loneliness and desperate to find a husband, Amina consulted the oracle, a wise old woman named Nia who could communicate with the ancestors. In a hut that smelled of herbs and ancient scrolls, Nia spoke. "Little girl, your destiny is unlike any other. The man who fathers your child will become the ruler of this village, and his reign will bring unparalleled prosperity." Intrigued and empowered, Amina came up with a radical plan. She would sleep with every eligible man in the village. In this way, she reasoned, she would not only find her destined husband, but also secure the best future ruler for her people. As the weeks turned into months, the village began to murmur. Amina's unconventional search for a husband became the topic of conversation at every gathering and around every fire. Eventually, Amina found herself in a state of pregnancy. She was radiant, her belly round and full, a living testament to the prophecy. As her due date approached, tension thickened in the air. Every family with an eligible son began to claim the unborn child as their own, putting their stake in the future chieftaincy. In the midst of this whirlwind, Amina gave birth to a healthy boy. The village rejoiced, but the joy was short-lived, as the next problem was immediate and urgent. Who is the father of this child destined to rule? Elders gathered, wives gossiped, warriors sharpened their spears. Everyone had a theory, and every man wanted proof. The village was on the brink of civil war, and only the true identification of the child's father could bring peace. Yet Amina remained serenely confident. She knew that the prophecy would not fail her or her people. So, with her newborn son cradled in her arms, she awaited the revelation that would change the fate of her people forever. A week had passed since the birth of Amina's son, whom she named Tariq, meaning he who knocks at the door. It seemed as if Tariq was truly knocking at the door of a new era for the village, one filled with uncertainty and anticipation. The Council of Elders, the esteemed body responsible for making important decisions in the village, gathered beneath the oldest baobab tree. Its twisted branches seemed to buckle under the weight of the monumental decision before them. "Our ancestors have always shown us the way in times of harmony and discord," said O, the eldest among them, his voice trembling like the last leaves of autumn. "We must seek their wisdom to resolve this crisis." Just then, Nia, the oracle, entered the circle, her eyes glowing with a fire that seemed almost supernatural. "I've spoken with the ancestors," Nia began, her voice a mesmerizing melody that silenced even the cicadas. "They propose a test, one that will reveal not only young Tariq's father, but also the future leader of our people." Murmurs spread through the council. Even among the elders who had seen many harvests and many seasons, this was unprecedented. The test continued. Nia will require each potential father to undertake a journey to the sacred mountain. At its summit lies a stone. Not just any stone, a moonstone imbued with the wisdom of our ancestors. The man who returns with this stone will be considered the true father and destined ruler of our people. A collective gasp filled the air. The sacred mountain was a place of many dangers, wild beasts, treacherous terrain, and above all, spiritual tests that could break even the strongest of wills. Yet the Council of Elders knew there was no other way. After a moment of ponderous silence, O spoke. "So, it is decided. Each claimant will depart at dawn 3 days from now. May the ancestors guide us." As the council dispersed, a kaleidoscope of emotions filled the town square. Excitement, fear, hope, all woven into a tapestry as intricate as life itself. Amina, holding Tariq close to her chest, felt a calm and assurance wash over her. The ancestors had set the stage, and now it was the men's turn to prove their worth. But even she could not foresee the twists and turns that lay ahead, for the journey to the sacred mountain would bring startling revelations, things that would change the village and its people in ways they had never imagined. When dawn broke, 3 days later, An expectant silence enveloped the village. The air was heavy with the smell of burning sage as incense rose from homes, seeking the blessings of the ancestors for the journey ahead. 6 men stood in the village square, each representing a different family, claiming Tariq as their kin. Their faces were a canvas of emotions, longing, fear, and a bubbling excitement that seemed almost palpable. Amina, cradling Tariq in her arms, watched them silently, her eyes meeting each of theirs, a wordless message that seemed to say, "May the best man win." With the sound of a horn and the beat of drums, the journey began. Each man carried a bag filled with offerings, kola nuts, palm wine, and sacred amulets to honor the spirits of the holy mountain. The path was fraught with challenges, both physical and mystical. Rivers that twisted like snakes, forests that whispered secrets, and caves that echoed with the laughter and cries of forgotten souls. The true test, however, was at the foot of the sacred mountain. There stood a stone altar, inscribed with ancient runes that told tales of heroes and gods, love and betrayal. Beside the altar was a pool of water so clear it reflected their deepest fears and desires. As the men reached the altar, a voice echoed around them, a voice so ethereal it seemed to belong to the mountain itself. "Offer what you value most, and you may proceed." The voice echoed, filling the air with an unspoken gravity. One by one, the men approached the altar, some offering gold, others relics passed down through generations, but nothing happened. The path to the summit remained sealed, as if mocking their futile efforts. Finally, it was Django's turn. Django was not the richest or strongest among them, but he was known for his wisdom and humility. Instead of placing an object on the altar, he knelt and offered a prayer for the people, for Amina, and for the future generations who would inherit the land. As he finished, the altar glowed with a soft, radiant light, and the path to the top opened as if his sincerity had summoned him. All the men, awed and humbled, followed Django as he led the way. The weight of their journey seemed a little lighter, the resolve a little stronger, united by the new understanding that true leadership required more than just wealth or strength. It required wisdom of the heart. The ascent of the sacred mountain was unlike any other climb. Each step seemed to be a dance between the earthly and the divine, where physical exertion met spiritual enlightenment. The men felt their breaths grow shorter, but their senses sharpened. Every rock, every gust of wind seemed imbued with ancient wisdom. Finally, they reached the summit, where the night sky seemed within reach, twinkling stars bearing witness to this pivotal moment in the village's history. There was the moonstone, glowing softly in the moonlight, almost as if it pulsed with the heartbeat of the mountain itself. Django approached the stone first, his hands shaking as he touched its cold surface. The moonstone lit up, its glow intensifying into a radiant beam that shot into the sky, returning as a waterfall of light that engulfed him. "Son of Kofi," a heavenly voice echoed, "you have proven your worth. This child is yours, and you are destined to lead your people." Overcome with emotion, Django fell to his knees. The men accompanying him were silent, humble and awed by the revelation, their earlier envy and rivalry dissipating like the morning mist. As they descended the mountain, the village came into view, bathed in the soft glow of dawn. The men felt different, transformed, not just by the revelation, but by the journey itself. It was as if they had shared layers of ignorance and ego, revealing new skins of wisdom and humility. By the time they arrived, the entire village had gathered. The tension in the air was palpable, a sea of eager, expectant faces. Django stepped forward, holding the moonstone high for all to see. "The ancestors have spoken," he declared. "I am Tariq's father, and it is my destiny to lead this village." A collective sigh followed, then a roar of cheers and ululations. The elders nodded in approval, their faith in ancestral wisdom reaffirmed. Amina, with Tariq in her arms, approached Django. Their gazes met, and in that moment, all complexities and difficulties seemed to melt away, leaving behind pure, unspoken understanding. When Django took his son in his arms for the first time, The village erupted into jubilant celebration. But Amina knew this was just the beginning. They had averted a crisis and perhaps even begun a new chapter in their history. But the real work lay ahead, raising a child destined for greatness and leading a village to prosperity. Yet, with the moonstone as their guiding light and ancient wisdom in their hearts, they were ready to face any challenges that lay ahead together. Several months had passed since the day Django was declared Tariq's father and the village's future leader. A sense of peace and prosperity seemed to have settled over the community, a testament to the prophecy foretold, or so it seemed. One fateful night, as Amina was nursing Tariq beneath the shade of her family hut, she overheard a whispered conversation from behind the thick baobab tree that stood sentinel near their home. "You have done well, Django. The village suspects nothing, and the prophecy seems fulfilled," came the raspy voice of Nia, the oracle, unmistakable. "My conscience is troubled, Nia. We have deceived the people who trust us, and I am raising a son who is not truly mine," said Django's voice, trembling with regret. But you will be a wise and kind ruler. Is that not what is best for the village?" "A benevolent deception, I call it," Nia replied, her tone frighteningly casual. Amina's heart sank. Betrayal, like a stealthy snake, had entered her garden of trust. As she looked at Tariq, innocent and unaware, a new resolve formed in her mind. The villagers might have been deceived, but they deserved the truth, especially when it came to a future leader, and her son Tariq deserved to know his true heritage. But how could she expose this conspiracy without plunging the village into chaos once more? Amina knew she had to proceed carefully. The moonstone, the very symbol of Django's supposed legitimacy, suddenly seemed to her like the lock to a secret that only the true father could unlock. As the village slept, oblivious to the silently brewing storm, Amina began to formulate a plan, a test so definitive it would reveal the true father without doubt or dispute. But first, she had to ensure the moonstone's authenticity, for if the moonstone was part of the deception, its mystical power could still point to the true father, provided he underwent a ritual known only to the most enlightened sages. So, under the veil of night, Amina set out to consult the only person outside the village who could help her, the sage of the Ebony Forest. Amina's journey through the Ebony Forest was fraught with risk, hidden traps, nocturnal predators, and the ever-threatening darkness. But a mother's determination knows no bounds, especially when her child's future is at stake. Deep in the forest, where ancient trees seemed to touch the heavens, Amina finally reached the secluded abode of the wise hermit, with a long flowing beard and eyes that held the wisdom of the ages. The wise man welcomed her. "I have been waiting for you, Amina," the wise man began. "The forest whispers stories, and your plight has not gone unnoticed." Gathering her composure, Amina told the wise man everything: Tariq's birth, the journey to the sacred mountain, and the conspiracy she had overheard between Django and Nia. "I seek the truth, wise man," she concluded. "Can the moonstone still reveal Tariq's true father?" The wise man, stroking his beard thoughtfully, spoke. "The moonstone is an ancient relic of truth. Its power can be manipulated, but it cannot be completely corrupted. There exists a ritual lost to time, but known to me, that can cleanse the stone of any deception." Hope lit in Amina's eyes as she listened intently to the sage. "You must perform the ritual of truth on the night of the new moon. The moonstone, bathed in the sacred waters of the Whispering Lake and subjected to this ritual, will shine only in the hands of the true father." Armed with new hope and the wise hermit's elaborate instructions, Amina obliged and returned to the village, her heart beating with a mix of hope, fear, and anticipation. She arrived just before dawn, slipping back into her home unnoticed. There was a glint of resolve in her eyes, for she knew what must be done next: retrieve the moonstone from its guarded shrine and prepare it for the ritual of truth. The stakes were sky-high. If she succeeded, the entire village would know the truth about Tariq's heritage, and the future of the village's leadership would be guaranteed. But if she failed, she would not only lose her son, but could also plunge the community into discord. That night, Amina waited anxiously for the arrival of the new moon. When the sky darkened completely, darkness enveloped the village, and the silence of the night became her ally. While everyone slept, Amina crept toward the place where Django kept the moonstone, a small altar in his home adorned with offerings and symbolic objects of leadership. With her heart pounding, Amina approached the altar. The moonstone glowed faintly, as if it knew her fate was about to change. With trembling hands, Amina took the stone and felt a latent power within her. She knew she had to act quickly, so she headed toward the Whispering Lake, a sacred place the wise man had told her about. The lake was surrounded by trees that seemed to whisper secrets, and its surface was so smooth that it reflected the stars. Amina knelt beside the water and, following the wise man's instructions, began the ritual. With each word she spoke, the air grew thicker, and the moon, though hidden, seemed to be paying attention. Spirits of the lake, ancestors who guide our path, reveal the hidden truth. May the moonstone shine with the light of purity and justice, Amina murmured, her voice echoing in the night. Then, she dipped the stone into the water, and the lake began to glow with a silver light, sending ripples that echoed through the darkness. As the stone absorbed the energy of the lake, Amina felt a chill run down her spine. Nature seemed to respond to her summons, and the air was filled with a murmur, as if the souls of her ancestors were joining her in this sacred moment. After several minutes, the stone began to glow brightly, emitting a glow that illuminated the night as if it were day. Suddenly, a vision came over Amina, a man who was not Django, but someone else, with a face that looked at her with love and determination. She recognized Kofi, Tariq's father, a man who had made sacrifices for his people and left a legacy of wisdom and courage. Amina realized that the stone had revealed the truth. Django was not the father, and Tariq's true legacy was in his blood. With her heart full of purpose, Amina returned to the village at dawn, the moonstone still glowing in her hands. She knew she had to gather everyone together, including Django and the council, and present them with the truth. As the village began to awaken, a sense of anticipation filled the air. As everyone gathered in the village square, Amina stood up, her voice loud and clear. "People, I have brought a revelation. The moonstone has spoken, and the truth must be known. Tariq is not the son of Django, but of his true father, Kofi, who lives in the hearts of our people and in their traditions." There was a murmur of surprise, confusion, and finally, acceptance. Django stood up, his face pale, but not with anger, but with deep sadness and understanding. He knew that the truth was more valuable than any title or power. "I'm sorry, Amina," Django said, his voice shaking. "I've been selfish, seeking power, without considering Tariq. All I want is the best for him and our people." Amina nodded, knowing that Django had learned the most important lesson of all. True leadership is based on truth and love, not possession or ego. The community began to understand that the revelation was not a cause for discord, but an opportunity to grow and unite. "We must honor Kofi's memory and ensure that Tariq grows up knowing his heritage," Amina suggested. "Together, we can raise the child who is destined to be a great leader, one who understands the value of community and truth." Over time, the people accepted Tariq as their leader, not just because of his blood, but because of the love and dedication that Amina and Django bestowed upon him. The story of the sacred mountain and the moonstone became a legend told to generations to come, not just as a tale of betrayal and revelation, but as a testament to the power of truth and the beauty of love in all its forms. Thus, the village prospered under the leadership of Tariq, who, guided by the teachings of his mother and the legacy of his true father, became a just and wise ruler, uniting the community in times of peace and facing challenges with courage. Life flourished, and ancient traditions were intertwined with new stories, weaving a tapestry of hope and unity that resonated in the hearts of every inhabitant. And so, Amina, with the moonstone kept in her home as a symbol of truth, looked at her son with love and pride, knowing that she had done the right thing and that the future of the village was brighter than ever.